Have you ever wondered what marked the turning point in the Pacific War during World War II? The Battle of Midway takes that honor. This pivotal encounter unfolded in June of 1942, as the United States intercepted and decisively thwarted a major Japanese naval invasion aimed at the Midway Atoll. The significance of this battle cannot be overstated. It marked a halt to Japan's hitherto relentless expansion across the Pacific, signaling a shift in momentum in favor of the Allies. The defeat was particularly stinging for Japan due to the loss of 4 of its prized aircraft carriers: the Akagi, Kaga, Soryu, and Hiryu. These losses dealt a significant blow to Japan's naval air power, from which it never fully recovered. The Battle of Midway was a crucial point in the Pacific War, where Japan suffered a significant defeat. The Battle of the Coral Sea, a unique naval battle where both sides claimed victory. Taking place in May of 1942, this was the first naval battle in history where aircraft carriers faced off against each other. Both the Allies and the Japanese unleashed their aerial might, with torpedo bombers and fighters filling the skies. The outcome? Both sides sustained significant losses, but the strategic implications were far-reaching. Japan's relentless advance towards Australia was effectively halted and their naval strength was noticeably weakened. Their attempt to secure the Coral Sea and isolate Australia from the Allies was thwarted. Despite the heavy losses, the Allies had managed to hold the line, showcasing their resilience in the face of adversity. This battle was a testament to the changing face of naval warfare, highlighting the crucial role of aircraft carriers. Ultimately, the Battle of the Coral Sea marked a halt in Japan's expansion. The largest naval battle in World War II, the Battle of Leyte Gulf, was a decisive moment in the Pacific theater. This monumental clash took place in October 1944 between the Allies and the Imperial Japanese Navy around the Philippine islands of Leyte, Samar, and Luzon. It was a defining moment in the war, marking the first time that Japan used its kamikaze, or suicide attack strategies, a desperate measure signaling the severity of Japan's situation. The battle saw the crippling of Japan's naval power, with the loss of several battleships and aircraft carriers. Among the casualties were the Musashi and Yamato, 2 of the largest battleships in history. This loss severely limited Japan's ability to project naval power, marking a turning point in the Pacific theater. The Battle of Leyte Gulf was a significant blow to Japan's naval power, effectively putting an end to its ability to engage in large-scale naval operations for the remainder of the war. The Battle of Guadalcanal marked Japan's first major land defeat in the Pacific. This significant campaign stretched from August 1942 to February 1943, where the Allied forces, primarily Americans, engaged in a series of combats on the ground, at sea, and in the air, to regain control of the island. The island of Guadalcanal held strategic importance due to its location and its airfield, later named Henderson Field by the Americans. The Japanese had planned to use it to bolster their defense perimeter in the Pacific. However, their attempt was thwarted by the Allied forces, who recognized the tactical advantage it offered. Throughout the campaign, the Allied forces successfully pushed back Japanese soldiers, inflicting heavy losses. The Japanese faced difficulties in supplying and reinforcing their troops, which further weakened their hold on the island. This culminated in their eventual withdrawal, marking their first significant setback on land. In the end, the Battle of Guadalcanal was a turning point in the Pacific War. Fought on Japanese soil, the Battle of Okinawa was a costly encounter for both sides. This was one of the deadliest battles of the Pacific War, with fierce fighting that lasted for nearly 3 months from early April until mid-June of 1945. The Allies aimed to seize Okinawa as a base for the planned invasion of mainland Japan. However, they encountered robust resistance from the Japanese forces, who were determined to defend their homeland. The battle was characterized by intense ground combat and heavy kamikaze attacks, highlighting Japan's desperate yet fierce defense. Despite the high casualties, the Allies emerged victorious. This victory was not only strategic but also symbolic, proving that Japan's defensive capabilities were severely weakened. It showed the world that the once seemingly invincible Imperial Japanese Army could be defeated on their own soil. Despite its cost, the Battle of Okinawa was a clear demonstration of Japan's diminishing defensive strength. The Battle of Iwo Jima, a testament to Japan's resistance, but also to their diminishing ability to defend their territories. The battle took place in 1945, on the small island of Iwo Jima. Japanese forces, though outnumbered, put up a fierce fight, using the island's rough terrain to their advantage and holding off Allied forces for over a month. Despite the strong resistance, the tide of the battle was against them. The Allies, led by the United States, eventually overcame the Japanese defenses, securing a critical victory. This victory was not just about gaining control of an island, it was about gaining an airbase. This airbase was strategically important, as it provided a launching pad for bombing raids on the Japanese mainland, bringing the war closer to Japan's doorstep. The Battle of Iwo Jima was a clear sign of Japan's waning power. Known as the Great Marianas Turkey Shoot, the Battle of the Philippine Sea was another decisive defeat for Japan. The battle unfolded over 2 dramatic days in June of 1944 in the Philippine Sea, close to the Mariana Islands. The Japanese aimed to halt the American advance in the Pacific, but the result was quite the opposite. The United States Fifth Fleet, under the command of Admiral Raymond Spruance, faced off against the Japanese Combined Fleet, led by Admiral Jisaburo Ozawa. The battle saw an intense air-sea duel, with the U.S. forces showcasing superior tactics and technology. The aftermath of the battle was devastating for the Japanese, who lost an estimated 300 aircraft and several carriers. This defeat significantly weakened Japan's naval air power, leaving them ill-prepared for subsequent encounters. The Battle of the Philippine Sea marked another significant defeat for Japan. The Battle of Leyte marked the last major offensive of Japan. As the largest island in the Visayas region of the Philippines, Leyte was a strategic target for both the Allies and the Japanese. The battle took place in October and November of 1944 as part of the larger Philippines campaign. This was a fierce and bloody battle, with both sides fighting tenaciously for control. The Japanese, desperate to hold on to Leyte, launched their entire remaining naval power. However, the Allied forces, led by the United States, were equally determined. They pressed on, and their superior resources and strategies began to pay off. The Japanese naval power was gradually worn down, with several key battleships and aircraft carriers lost. In the end, the Allies emerged victorious. This decisive victory effectively crippled the Japanese naval force, leaving them unable to launch another major offensive. The Battle of Leyte marked the beginning of the end for Japan's naval power. Revisiting the Battle of Okinawa, it's worth noting its significance in the final stages of the war. This fierce conflict, fought on Japanese soil, was a testament to Japan's desperate defense strategies. The Japanese, despite their dwindling resources and the grim reality of their situation, put up a resistance that was as tenacious as it was tragic. Meanwhile, the Allied forces, through a combination of land, sea, and air power, demonstrated effective amphibious tactics. These tactics, which had been honed over the course of the Pacific War, allowed the Allies to gain a foothold in Okinawa, despite the fierce resistance they encountered. This strategic victory, hard-won and costly, was a critical step towards the end of the war. It exposed the vulnerabilities of Japan's defenses and marked a turning point that set the stage for the eventual invasion of the Japanese mainland. The Battle of Okinawa paved the way for the invasion of Japan. The devastating bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki led to Japan's unconditional surrender. In August of 1945, the world witnessed the catastrophic power of nuclear weapons for the first time. On the 6th, an American B-29 bomber, the Enola Gay, dropped a uranium atomic bomb, Little Boy, on Hiroshima, obliterating the city. 3 days later, Fat Man, a plutonium bomb, decimated Nagasaki. These bombings resulted in the immediate death of over 100,000 people, and countless more succumbed to injuries and radiation sickness in the years to follow. The scale of destruction was unprecedented and unimaginable, forcing Japan to surrender unconditionally on August 15, thus effectively ending the Second World War. The atomic bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki marked the end of World War II, highlighting the destructive power of nuclear weapons.